Let's be honest. There's a moment when a man starts to realize something is off. You've been investing your time, energy, and emotions into a woman who makes you feel alive one day and invisible the next. And deep down, you know it's not just bad luck or misunderstanding. Something is wrong, but you're afraid to admit it. Because if you do, it means facing a truth you never wanted to confront. She might be playing you. Notice the subtle shifts. The texts that used to come fast and filled with warmth are now delayed, cold, or sometimes completely ignored. The laughs, the teasing, the connection you felt, gone. But here's the trap. She makes sure you see glimpses of it. A laugh here, a smile there, just enough to keep you hooked. That inconsistency is intentional. It's designed to make your mind chase her, trying to understand, rationalize, and forgive. You're not imagining it. This push and pull is classic psychological manipulation, and it's one of the first signs she's playing you. Then there's the attention game. One moment, she's all in, filling your world with compliments, interest, and affection. The next, she's distant, disappearing without explanation. You try to catch up, to fill the gaps, because somewhere a small voice tells you that if you just try harder, it'll be different. But it never is. That's not emotional absence. That's strategy. Women who play men for fools understand human psychology deeply. They know how to attach you to moments of pleasure, making you crave more, and that craving keeps you in a loop of chasing validation that she controls. Watch for how she reacts to your boundaries. A woman who genuinely respects you will honor your time, your space, and your needs. A woman who plays you will test those boundaries relentlessly. She'll create situations to see how far she can push, how much she can manipulate, and whether you'll bend. And the worst part? She'll make it seem like it's all your fault if you confront her. She'll spin the story, gaslighting you into doubting your instincts. You feel guilty for even questioning her because she's expert at twisting reality. Then there's the way she talks about herself and about you. Listen carefully. She may drop hints about how amazing she is, how every man wants her, or how unique she is in a way that subtly undermines your confidence. And your insecurities? She uses them. She plants seeds of doubt, then positions herself as the one who can fix it, drawing you deeper into dependency. This is not love. This is control, masked as desire. And finally, pay attention to consistency versus promises. She will promise, charm, and entice, but rarely deliver. Actions, not words, reveal truth. If her actions consistently contradict her words, you're not being loved, you're being used. And the scary part, you might not even see it at first, because she's a master at making you feel special while simultaneously keeping you trapped in uncertainty. That uncertainty is her power. If you recognize these patterns, it's not paranoia, it's reality. And realizing this is painful, yes, but liberating too. Because once you see the game, you can decide whether you want to continue playing or finally walk away with your dignity intact. Most men never notice the small, almost invisible signals she leaves behind. These are not mistakes or coincidences. They are deliberate markers placed to control your emotions without you even realizing it. One of the most powerful tools in her arsenal is emotional inconsistency. She will shower you with attention, affection, and validation one day, then vanish the next. And here's the psychological trap. Your brain remembers the highs far more vividly than the lows. You obsess over those fleeting moments of connection, and that obsession keeps you hooked, like a moth circling a flame. Another sign she's playing you is the selective sharing of her life. She'll give you glimpses, carefully curated, to make you feel included while hiding the reality. She will tell you just enough about her feelings, her friends, her plans, to make you think you're part of her world, but not truly a priority. Her world remains separate, and you're only allowed to see what she chooses. Every man who's fallen into this trap thinks he's close, but in reality, he's dancing on the edge of her narrative, a guest in her story, not a co-author. Then there's the testing behavior. She will say things or act in ways that seem confusing or even hurtful, all to gauge your reaction. Will you chase? Will you argue? Will you beg? She's not doing this out of malice. It's strategic. It's how she measures your attachment, your patience, and your emotional availability. Every reaction you give reinforces her power, especially if you respond with neediness or insecurity. The more you prove you care, the more control she gains. Watch her social interactions too. Notice how she behaves around other men. If she's flirty, overly friendly, or purposefully vague about boundaries, she's sending signals designed to create jealousy and insecurity. This is not accidental. It's a subtle psychological game meant to make you compete for her attention, to make you doubt your own value. And even if you try to call it out, she will twist it into a misunderstanding or accuse you of being controlling. You see, the game isn't just about her. It's about keeping you uncertain, anxious, and emotionally invested while she maintains total control. Communication patterns reveal a lot. Does she respond when it's convenient for her? Does she only reach out when she wants something or when it suits her mood? A woman playing you will rarely communicate openly or consistently. She creates imbalance, knowing full well that you will bend over backwards to chase a connection that she controls. She leverages your hope, your desire, your need to believe in something real, all to maintain her upper hand. Finally, listen to your instincts. That inner voice that whispers, something feels off. It's your subconscious recognizing manipulation before your conscious mind fully accepts it. Most men dismiss it, chalking it up to paranoia or overthinking. But ignoring it only strengthens her hold. Awareness is your first line of defense. Once you acknowledge the patterns, the tactics, and the psychological traps, you regain power. You can choose whether to remain entangled or step back before it costs you more than you're willing to pay. One of the cruelest games she plays is twisting your emotions against you, making you doubt your own perception of reality. She knows that a man's heart can be his greatest vulnerability, and she exploits it with precision. One day, she makes you feel like the most important person in the world. The next, she disappears without explanation, leaving you scrambling for answers, replaying every word, every glance, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. That confusion, that anxiety, that's exactly what she wants. It's not accidental, it's her way of keeping you hooked. Manipulation often comes wrapped in affection. She will say things that sound sweet, supportive, or intimate, but they carry hidden strings. Compliments are carefully timed to disarm your defenses, to make you feel special just when she's about to withdraw. Encouragement is given selectively, so you associate your happiness with her approval. And when you question her or seek clarity, she frames it as overreaction, insecurity, or lack of trust. Slowly, you start to internalize her narrative, believing that your feelings are the problem, not her behavior. Notice how she uses jealousy as a weapon. Even subtle interactions with others, a lingering laugh, a cryptic comment, a seemingly innocent photo, are designed to provoke an emotional response. She wants to see if you care enough to react, to chase, to validate her power over you, and when you do, she rewards it with attention, affection, or charm. This cycle trains your brain to seek her approval, creating a psychological dependency that is hard to break. You begin to associate your own emotional stability with her unpredictable reactions, giving her indirect control over your mood. Gaslighting is another tool she may use, slowly eroding your confidence and making you doubt your instincts. She may deny things she said, rewrite past events, or make you question your judgment. "You're remembering it wrong," she'll say. "You're overthinking." Each small denial chips away at your certainty, and before you know it, you're second-guessing yourself constantly. The power here isn't in confrontation, it's in subtle control, in making you rely on her interpretation of reality rather than your own. She also leverages scarcity. When attention is intermittent, you begin to crave it more. That rare moment of affection or acknowledgement becomes disproportionately valuable. You find yourself overanalyzing every interaction, waiting for that next high of connection, and she knows it. This scarcity principle is not accidental. It's a deliberate tool to make you chase her, making the relationship feel like a prize rather than a partnership. Finally, observe how she frames responsibility. A woman who's playing you will rarely accept accountability for her actions. She shifts blame, manipulates context, and reframes arguments to make you feel at fault. You end up apologizing, compromising, and bending, often without even realizing how much of yourself you've given away. Awareness is your shield. Recognizing these tactics doesn't make you cynical, it makes you empowered. Once you see the pattern, you can step back, reclaim your emotional space, and refuse to be a pawn in her psychological game. The most dangerous part of her game is how she makes you feel needed, wanted, and even indispensable, while slowly eroding your sense of self. She knows that a man's identity is often tied to his role in a relationship, and she exploits that. By alternating warmth with coldness, attention with neglect, she creates a dependency that feels like love. But it's actually a chain. Every compromise you make, every insecurity you forgive, strengthens her control and weakens your ability to see clearly. Notice the way she tests your limits. She might push boundaries subtly at first. A late reply, a sarcastic comment, a hidden plan, gauging whether you will speak up or silently accept it. If you push back, she might apologize, charm, or distract, giving just enough sweetness to reset your emotional compass. But if you stay silent, she escalates. These tests are never random. They are carefully calibrated experiments designed to see how far she can bend you without breaking the connection entirely. And the frightening truth? Many men unknowingly participate, thinking they're in control, when in reality, they are being conditioned. Then there's the art of emotional withholding. She will deliberately hold back affection, attention, or validation, only to return it at moments that maximize your reaction. You feel anxious, obsessed even, trying to decode her motives. You start measuring your worth by her availability, letting your own happiness hinge on her inconsistent behavior. This is not love, it's control, and the longer you stay, the stronger her hold becomes. Observe the way she frames conflict. A woman playing you rarely addresses issues directly. Instead, she manipulates conversations to make you question your own perception. She might twist your words, accuse you of being irrational, or subtly shame you for raising concerns. Over time, this creates a psychological environment where you second-guess yourself at every turn. Your mind becomes a battlefield, and she positions herself as the only one capable of making peace. This is not partnership. It's dominance disguised as intimacy. Another tactic is selective transparency. She shares parts of her life that make you feel included, while keeping critical information hidden. You may think you know her, but the reality is curated. This keeps you engaged, guessing, and often feeling grateful for the fragments you're allowed to see. You're effectively chasing a version of her that she has designed, not the person she actually is. And the effort you expend, it's exactly what she wants. Finally, reflect on how she reacts when you assert yourself. A healthy partner respects your boundaries. A woman playing you tests them. She may sulk, manipulate, or charm her way back into control. Each of these interactions subtly reinforces a dangerous cycle. Your effort increases, her control solidifies, and your emotional freedom diminishes. Recognizing this pattern is critical. Awareness doesn't just protect you, it frees you to choose whether to continue investing or reclaim your power before the damage goes deeper. The most insidious part of her game is how she exploits your attachment to her, making you crave approval and validation like oxygen. She understands that men invest emotionally, mentally, and even physically, and she uses that investment to tighten her grip. You start believing that her attention is a reward, not a basic right of mutual respect. Every compliment, every smile, every fleeting moment of intimacy becomes a currency she controls. And the more you chase it, the less power you have. Pay attention to how she frames her needs. She might make you feel responsible for her happiness, subtly implying that if you truly care, You will anticipate her desires, fix her problems, and forgive her lapses. And when you do, she rewards you just enough to keep you hooked. This isn't affection, it's conditioning. She's training you to prioritize her emotions above your own, creating a pattern where your identity becomes entwined with her approval. Another sign is the shifting of priorities. If she continually places other people, obligations, or distractions above your relationship while still keeping you emotionally invested, she's not just busy, she's creating a hierarchy where she remains in control. You begin rationalizing her absences, making excuses for her behavior, because somewhere in your mind, you've decided that the connection is worth the emotional toll. And that rationalization, it's exactly what she relies on. Notice how she responds to your successes or achievements. A woman who is genuinely supportive celebrates and uplifts you, but a woman who plays games might downplay your wins, make subtle comparisons, or insert doubts. She wants you questioning yourself because self-doubt keeps you in her orbit. The more you rely on her approval, the more influence she has over your confidence and your choices. Observe how she handles emotional vulnerability. A woman playing you may exploit moments of weakness, using your openness to manipulate, guilt, or test your loyalty. Your honesty becomes ammunition, and your empathy becomes a leash. You start censoring your own feelings, measuring every word, afraid that the wrong expression could trigger her withdrawal. Emotional transparency, which should be a bridge to connection, instead becomes a trap. Finally, watch the patterns over time. Actions, not words, reveal truth. If affection is conditional, attention is scarce, and respect is inconsistent, it's not love, it's strategy. She has mastered the art of keeping you invested while maintaining control. And the turning point comes when you realize that no matter how much you give, it's never enough to earn stability or genuine commitment. Recognizing that moment is painful, but it's also the point where you regain the power to decide. Understanding these tactics doesn't make you cynical, it makes you aware. Awareness allows you to reclaim your boundaries, your self-worth, and your emotional freedom. It's the difference between being manipulated and being respected, between chasing illusions and finding real connection. The moment you truly recognize the game is the moment everything changes. Awareness is your most powerful weapon. You now see the patterns, the subtle manipulations, and the ways she exploits your emotions. You understand that chasing her attention is not a testament to love or devotion. It's a trap that keeps you tethered to uncertainty and self-doubt. And here's the truth. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But seeing it also gives you a choice. You can either continue playing the role she designed for you, or you can step back, reclaim your emotional freedom, and demand the respect you deserve. The first step is boundaries. Real boundaries, not vague lines that blur with her moods, but firm, unwavering standards for how you will be treated. No more waiting for texts, no more excusing neglect, no more bending yourself into someone who exists only to serve her emotional whims. Boundaries are your armor, and maintaining them is a signal that you value yourself more than the approval of someone who has repeatedly tested your limits. Next, detach emotionally without guilt. This is not about anger or bitterness, it's about clarity and self-respect. When you stop letting her inconsistencies dictate your happiness, you begin to regain control over your emotional state. You are no longer dependent on her validation to feel worthy. You start rebuilding your life around your priorities, your passions, and your sense of self, not her approval. Pay attention to actions over words. A woman who respects you will consistently show it through behavior, not empty promises. If her actions continue to contradict her words, you are not in a partnership, you are in a game. And games, by nature, are designed for one person to lose. Recognize this and make your choices accordingly. Finally, trust your instincts. That inner voice that warned you, that gut feeling that something was off all along, that is your subconscious protecting you. Respect it, learn from it, and let it guide you to relationships where honesty, consistency, and respect are the foundation, not manipulation, control, or emotional scarcity. Now, here's something to think about, and I want you to answer in the comments below. Imagine you invest 10 hours a week into someone who gives you affection only 50% of the time, and emotional clarity only 30% of the time. How much of your energy is truly being reciprocated? Write the answer in comments. Let's see who truly understands this game. If this video opened your eyes even slightly, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. It's time we stop falling for manipulation and start demanding respect, understanding female psychology, and mastering our own emotional power. Your time, your heart, and your dignity are too valuable to leave in someone else's hands.